Last week, I started work on one of the biggest challenges I've ever had roll in the studio. Heck, even just getting this 1965 Jeep Wagoneer inside wasn't easy. From a shredded tow rope to a flying drain pit grate, it was a calamity of errors and a very ominous sign about what was coming my way. A quick look around the vehicle showed moss growing on the exterior, and after sitting in the BC mountainside for 42 years, the interior is horrifying. I should have stopped right here, but no mess has ever stopped me before, even cacti and wasps' nests. Here's a quick recap of what happened in part 1 last week. Once I had the exterior of the Jeep clean, I began the difficult and lengthy job of removing some of the junk from the Jeep, along with dozens upon dozens of cacti that were seemingly growing under the front seats. If that wasn't enough though, the carpets were covered in what looks like either pine needles or grass seed, and once I had that dealt with, I moved to the cargo area where I found all kinds of 40-year-old junk, including a mouse carcass, wasp nest, and a mountain of other debris. And that's exactly where we're going to pick things up in part 2 of this 2-part disaster detail. Once I had emptied out the cargo area of junk, which filled up an entire giant garbage bag and a half, I might add, I also dumped out the contents of what the shop vac sucked up today, and yeah, it was a lot. Then I was about to start on extracting, and I happened to look up inside the Jeep and realized I hadn't removed the wasp nests yet, so I very gently dislodged them, and even though I knew they were really old and there was nothing in them, it still kind of creeped me out a bit. Alright, well it's time to see what I can do with the fabric portion of these seats that look heavily stained, but I have to say I'm not super confident in making these look new again. The vehicle is nearly 60 years old, and these stains could very well have been there that long. One thing I wasn't expecting though was for the fabric to have become so brittle that just running the extractor over it would cause it to rip, though I shouldn't have been surprised by this based on what I had happen when I vacuumed the carpets. Knowing this though, and I'll do my best to limit the damage today, though I think the owner was very understanding that things like this could happen, and if they're doing a full-on restoration of it, these seats aren't going to be able to stay in the condition they're in anyways. Now in case you've gotten this far into the video and didn't happen to watch last week's part 1 video, then you should stop right now and go and do that. Seeing the struggle to get the Jeep in here and all the cacti growing under the front seat, plus what I found in the back, is definitely worth it. Though if you find yourself asking the question, why am I cleaning a vehicle that's in this kind of shape? Well, like I mentioned a minute ago, the new owners of this Jeep Wagoneer told me they intend on doing a full-on Barrett-Jackson level restoration on it, which basically means every inch of it looks brand new. So I'm helping them see what they've got to work with underneath all this mess, and you'll of course get to see the owner's reaction at the end of this video, so stay tuned. Moving down to the carpet in the front, where it's a very unique and almost felt-like material, and despite this being heavily stained, I have to say I was shocked at how it turned out. This material ended up being really easy to clean, even though I did have to repeat the process once, but I'm very happy with how this front carpet turned out today. Alright, well, as I start on the second row carpet here, it didn't take long for me to see that there wasn't a whole lot I could do with it. Like I mentioned in part 1, this carpet 100% needs to be replaced as it was falling apart when I tried to vacuum it, and it's doing the same thing here. Not to mention the dirt is so embedded in here that in order for me to get it out, I'd likely have to remove it from the vehicle and pressure wash it, only there wouldn't be any carpet left if I did that. So basically I'm just going to make it look a little bit better without damaging it too much. Now, as I continue working on this carpet, I wanted to give you a bit more background on this vehicle. So as you probably already know, the Jeep sat abandoned in the mountains in British Columbia for 42 years before it was bought and brought here. I guess it was a one-owner vehicle, though the original owner's kid is the one who inherited it and then sold it. I don't really know anything beyond that though as to why it got parked one day and never looked at again for 4 decades, but I do know that the new owners are Jeep aficionados and would love to get it back on the road. Here's what the extractor sucked out of the wagon here today, and it is every bit as gross as you expected it to be. Alright, well, while my steamer warms up and makes some steam, I took the opportunity to clean out the studio a bit and get rid of all the garbage that came out of this Jeep, of which there was a fair bit. Of course, I'm not about to break my back hauling this out to the garbage bin, so I went and grabbed a little bit of extra muscle to do the job properly. Okay guys, the steamer is warmed up now, so it's time to get to work cleaning the rest of the interior, which is going to be a very big job. Of course, because this is an older vehicle and some of it is already falling apart, I do have to be as careful as possible when cleaning so I don't damage things, though in the case of the shiny silver strips on the door here, it'll practically fall off if you look at it the wrong way, so I'm unfortunately going to lose a little bit of that today. Moving up to the passenger door now, and I have to say that I'm pretty impressed by how well things are cleaning up so far, aside from the second row carpet of course. As the seats are drying out, they're starting to look better too, and the doors have all made big improvements. Plus the color of this interior just looks great too, so hopefully I'll be able to make some good improvements on the rest of the interior too. Getting started on the vinyl portion of the seats, and I just have to say that it's in remarkably good shape for being nearly 60 years old. I mean, aside from the couple spots in the lower middle section of course. Otherwise though, it's all intact, and I'm pretty sure I'll be able to make it look really, really good today. Now, while I continue working on the front seat here, I just wanted to remind you guys that there's a new Yard Geek video over on my other channel, The Yard Geek. After an insane amount of snow over the winter, the spring melt created some major problems for me as the water crept closer and closer to my house, so make sure you head over there after this video to check it out. And while you're there, do me a favor and show the channel some love by subscribing. I'm really enjoying making these videos for you guys, and I know I say this all the time, but the videos are only going to get better as the yard gets more developed. The things I've got in store and have already filmed are going to be epic. Moving down to underneath the door sill plates here, and while I was able to pressure wash this passenger side earlier in the detail, I still want to make sure it's as clean as possible, so I'll spray on some of my all-purpose cleaner, hit it with the steamer, and then simply give it a quick rinse. Jumping back inside the Jeep now all the way to the back, where this wasn't an easy position to clean from, and as you'll see, because a lot of the dirt in here was caked on and couldn't be vacuumed up earlier, it makes a big mess. But fear not, because I've got all sorts of microfiber towels just waiting to be called in for duty, though these ones are going to be especially soiled today. And on that note, having a washer and dryer out here in the studio is a lifesaver, as I can just toss them right in the washer after I'm done with them and have the laundry done and put away before the vehicle is even picked up. Okay, starting on the sill plates I removed in last week's video, and while these are in pretty rough shape, they can still be cleaned and made to look better, so that's exactly what I'll do with the steamer and my APC. But while I do, I'm curious about one thing. I know splitting this detail into two parts was a little unusual, and like I said in last week's video, I had to do it based on my workload last week, so it certainly won't be the norm and honestly might not ever happen again, but I'm curious if you enjoyed the change or if you were just put off by it. Let me know down in the comments. Okay, grabbing my leather conditioner, which is also great for vinyl, and I'll get some applied to these beautiful blue seats, which I have to say cleaned up really nicely and almost look brand new. And even the fabric portions look a heck of a lot better than when I started, despite there being a couple of lingering stains. Okay, with the interior looking as good as possible now, I'll grab my correcting compound and an orange cutting pad and get to work reviving all the chrome on the Jeep, but you certainly don't need a dual action polisher to do this, as you'll see in a minute. You can easily do it by hand too, it just takes a little bit longer. If you want to give any of the products I use a try, like the correcting compound, you can find them over on my website at detailgeekautocare.com, where worldwide shipping is available, and yes, we're also shipping to the UK again. And as a special treat to the Canadian viewers, you can also find some of my products available at carzilla.ca or in their brick and mortar store in Calgary. Alright, now for all the smaller pieces of chrome on the Jeep where I can't use my polisher, I've grabbed a microfiber applicator pad and we'll get to work doing this by hand, which is of course a much more labor intensive process, but the results can be just as good as using a machine if you have enough elbow grease in the tank. Now just before I finish up with the Jeep, I still need to get this vinyl from the cargo area cleaned up as it was really dirty, so the pressure washer, my green drill brush, and some APC should do the trick here. Okay, well once again I had to get the compressor out to blow up this rear tire that's gone flat again over the course of the detail so that I can get some tire dressing on it. Now, since I've been looking at this driver's side mirror for nearly 2 days now, I just had to take a minute and get this straightened out properly.
Hey, come on in and take a look at the vehicle.
Oh my gosh. It's not covered in weeds.
Looks a little better.
Mold and...
Take a look inside.
Oh my gosh, you can actually sit in it.
Most of the work
was.
was.
The seats are actually in not horrible shape. Oh my God, this carpet.
It turned out good, eh?
It turned out so good. Did you figure out the back either? Or you were just
no, I didn't, so I had to
everything?
clean from inside. It was a bit of a challenge, but we got her done.
Wow. Oh, the cactus is gone. Oh, it's so nice. I love this teal carpet. Yeah, I had no idea what it looked like in there.
Yeah, there were some pretty good surprises under there. So there wasn't just one cactus. There
was there?
Probably 100 of them.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it cleaned up pretty good.
He's
So
gonna be so excited.
you've got, I don't know, something to work with at least.
Oh, well, I mean, compared to what it was before, whatever.
Yeah.
It'll fit the bill, so.
Okay, well, enjoy it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm really excited to show my husband.
Yeah. All right, guys, well, after 16 hours of work, I am done with the Wagoneer. And it's looking better than it was when I started. Now, I knew it wasn't going to turn out looking spectacular. There really just wasn't a whole lot here to work with, but at least it's clean, and the owner can decide if they want to do that, full out restoration on it, or maybe just go the slightly easier route, get it running again, and enjoy it as is. So if you guys enjoyed this crazy transformation, make sure you smash the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to check out the new Yard Geek video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.